In the world of music and entertainment, few names have been as iconic as Sean P. Diddy Combs. From founding Bad Boy Records and shaping the hip-hop landscape to launching his ventures in fashion, media, and more, Diddy built an empire that seemed untouchable. However, beneath the surface of this towering success lay rumors of darker realities, exploitation, manipulation, and abuse. Now, with multiple lawsuits and accusations of sexual misconduct, trafficking, and revenge porn, the man who once dominated the music world faces a reckoning.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out? If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. All right, love you, man.
Has Diddy's past finally caught up with him, or can his empire survive the storm? Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy, burst onto the scene in the early 90s as a visionary force in hip-hop. He wasn't just producing hits. He was crafting a lifestyle, one filled with luxury, power, and success. As the mastermind behind Bad Boy Records, Diddy turned artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Maze into household names. But behind the glitz and glamour, whispers of questionable business practices, exploitive behavior, and disturbing rumors swirled. Now, as allegations of abuse and misconduct mount, the empire Diddy built from the ground up stands on the brink of collapse. The meteoric rise of P. Diddy. Sean P. Diddy Combs' ascent in the 1990s is one of the most remarkable success stories in modern music history. Born in Harlem, New York, Diddy's ambition and passion for music were apparent from an early age. He began his career as an intern at Uptown Records, where he quickly made a name for himself with his keen ear for talent and unmatched work ethic. His relentless pursuit of success saw him working on projects with Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, but after a fallout with Uptown's management, Diddy was dismissed from his position in 1993. Undeterred, Diddy turned adversity into opportunity by founding Bad Boy Records later that year. The label's first major release came in 1994 with Craig Mack's hit single, Flava in Ya Ear. However, it was the release of the Notorious B.I.G.'s debut album, Ready to Die, in 1994 that solidified Bad Boy Records as a dominant force in hip-hop. The partnership between Diddy and Biggie produced some of the most influential music of the decade, including iconic tracks like Juicy and Big Papa. Diddy's impact wasn't limited to his work behind the scenes.
That's that money, baby!
That's fire!
His flamboyant personality, extravagant lifestyle, and talent for self-promotion helped him become a cultural icon. He embodied the bling era of hip-hop, popularizing the idea that success wasn't just about the music, but also about the lifestyle, luxury, fashion, and indulgence. His music videos, often featuring lavish settings, flashy cars, and all-night parties, set the tone for a generation of hip-hop artists who followed in his footsteps. Beyond music, Diddy's influence expanded into fashion, most notably with the launch of his Sean John clothing line in 1998. The brand became a cultural phenomenon, earning Diddy a place at the forefront of urban fashion. By the early 2000s, Sean John was pulling in hundreds of millions in revenue, and Diddy earned accolades for his business acumen. Diddy's empire also grew into television, where he launched Making the Band, a reality show that gave viewers a behind-the-scenes look at how a music group is formed. The show was a rating success and cemented Diddy's status as an influential figure across multiple industries. By the early 2000s, Diddy had evolved into a full-fledged mogul, with influence extending well beyond music. Rumors, exploitation, and the dark side of success. Despite his undeniable success, Diddy's career has been plagued by accusations of exploitation and unethical business practices. As the head of Bad Boy Records, Diddy was responsible for signing and managing some of the biggest names in hip-hop. However, many of those artists have spoken out over the years, claiming that they were exploited, underpaid, and ultimately discarded once they were no longer profitable. Mark Curry, a former Bad Boy artist, was one of the first to publicly criticize Diddy's treatment of artists. In his 2009 book, Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burned the Bad Boys of Hip-Hop, Curry detailed how many artists on the label received little financial compensation, despite the massive success of their music. According to Curry, Diddy's business model involved signing artists to deals that heavily favored the label, leaving the artists with minimal control over their own music and profits. Diddy's focus on expanding his own wealth and brand meant that many of his artists were left behind once their commercial viability diminished. One of the most publicized feuds was between Diddy and Maze, one of Bad Boy's biggest stars in the late 90s.
Parties, you just haven't seemed to show up to.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay.
In 2020, Maze took to social media to accuse Diddy of refusing to sell back his publishing rights, even though Maze offered Diddy $2 million, an amount Maze claimed was far more than the rights were worth at the time. Maze argued that Diddy was profiting off music made decades earlier while the artists themselves struggled financially. For Maze and other Bad Boy artists, it wasn't just about money, but also about fairness and respect, both of which they felt were lacking under Diddy's leadership. The grievances against Diddy extend beyond financial exploitation. Several artists and employees have described Bad Boy Records as a toxic environment, where Diddy's ego and relentless pursuit of success create a cutthroat culture. These stories paint a picture of a mogul who, in his pursuit of building an empire, left a trail of disillusioned artists and business partners behind. While Diddy's empire flourished, many of those who helped build it felt betrayed and exploited. Allegations and lawsuits. The fall begins. In recent years, Diddy's empire has come under intense scrutiny, not just for his business practices, but also for more serious allegations involving abuse and sexual misconduct. The most high-profile of these accusations came in 2023, when R&B singer Cassie, who had a long-term personal and professional relationship with Diddy, filed a lawsuit that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Cassie's lawsuit details years of alleged abuse, including claims of physical assault, emotional manipulation, and coercion into sexual activities. According to Cassie, Diddy controlled her life, dictating her career, personal choices, and even forcing her to engage in drug use and disturbing sexual acts. The graphic nature of the allegations painted a troubling picture of Diddy's behavior behind closed doors, one that contrasted sharply with his public persona as a savvy businessman and influential mogul. What made Cassie's case particularly significant was that she filed the lawsuit under the Adult Survivors Act.
Inspiration behind your outfit tonight? Was it an all-white party?
I just wanted to just keep it, simple and plain, angelic, and not really try to overdo it with the theme.
A New York law that allows survivors of sexual abuse to file claims even after the statute of limitations has expired. This legal avenue gave Cassie the opportunity to seek justice, despite the fact that the alleged abuse had occurred years earlier. Diddy's response to the lawsuit was swift. Within 24 hours of the lawsuit being filed, Diddy and Cassie reached a settlement. While settling a lawsuit doesn't imply an admission of guilt, the speed at which the settlement was reached raised eyebrows. For many observers, it seemed like an attempt to quickly silence the controversy before it gained too much traction in the media. However, Cassie's lawsuit was just the beginning. In the aftermath of her case, other women came forward with similar allegations against Diddy. Each new allegation added to the growing perception that Diddy, like other powerful men in the entertainment industry, had used his influence and wealth to exploit and manipulate those around him. These lawsuits and accusations represent a significant turning point in Diddy's career. For decades, he had been able to rise above criticism and remain a powerful figure in the music industry. Now, however, his reputation is being dismantled by accusations that strike at the core of his personal and professional legacy. The Adult Survivors Act and legal implications. The legal landscape surrounding the allegations against Diddy was heavily influenced by the Adult Survivors Act, a piece of legislation passed in New York that allows victims of sexual abuse to file lawsuits even if the statute of limitations has expired. Signed into law in 2021, the act recognizes that survivors of sexual abuse often face emotional and psychological barriers that prevent them from coming forward immediately after the abuse occurs. It provides a 1-year window during which adult survivors can bring civil claims, regardless of when the abuse took place. The Adult Survivors Act became central to Cassie's 2023 lawsuit against Diddy. Her allegations stem from a relationship that spanned a decade, much of it occurring before the law was in place. The act provided her with the legal means to seek justice for the abuse she claimed to have endured during their relationship, despite the fact that years had passed since some of the alleged incidents. For many survivors, the act represents a long-awaited opportunity to hold their abusers accountable, especially in industries like music and entertainment, where power dynamics have historically made it difficult for victims to come forward. In Diddy's case, the Adult Survivors Act not only allowed Cassie to file her lawsuit, but also paved the way for other survivors to come forward with their stories. The impact of the Adult Survivors Act goes beyond Diddy's case. It represents a broader shift in how society and the legal system handle allegations of abuse, particularly in cases involving powerful figures. In the past, many survivors faced insurmountable obstacles in seeking justice, from expired statutes of limitations to fear of retaliation. The Act addresses these challenges by giving survivors more time and legal protection to pursue their claims. Diddy's settlement with Cassie, while swift, doesn't absolve him of the legal and reputational challenges ahead. As more women come forward under the protections of the Adult Survivors Act, Diddy could face additional lawsuits and public scrutiny. The law has become a crucial tool in dismantling the power structures that once protected abusers.
Women, beautiful women, of course. We need alcohol. We need locks on the doors.
Forcing individuals like Diddy to confront the consequences of their actions. The Adult Survivors Act is part of a broader cultural reckoning where survivors are empowered to come forward and powerful figures can no longer hide behind their wealth and influence. For Diddy, the fallout from this legislation is only beginning. The legacy of P Diddy, redemption or ruin. Sean P Diddy Combs' legacy is now a battleground between two starkly different narratives. On one hand, Diddy is undeniably one of the most influential figures in hip-hop and entertainment, a man who helped shape the sound and culture of a generation. His contributions to music, fashion, and business are monumental. He built a multi-million-dollar empire from scratch, bringing a distinct style and energy to everything he touched. For many, Diddy's story is one of perseverance, ambition, and the American dream. However, this legacy is now overshadowed by the serious allegations against him. The lawsuits, accusations of exploitation, and claims of abuse paint a far darker picture of a man who allegedly used his power to manipulate and harm those around him. For those who once saw Diddy as a hero, these revelations are shocking and disappointing, forcing a re-evaluation of his place in history. Diddy's response to these allegations will play a critical role in determining how he is remembered. Settling the lawsuit with Cassie was a clear attempt to move past the scandal, but the swiftness of the settlement raised questions about whether Diddy was truly seeking accountability or simply trying to protect his brand. The fact that other women have come forward with similar stories suggests that this is not an issue that will disappear quickly. For many, the fall of P. Diddy represents a broader cultural shift in how we view powerful men in entertainment. In the past, stars like Diddy could often escape the consequences of their actions, shielded by their fame and wealth. But in the post-Me Too era, there is a growing demand for accountability, even for those at the very top of the industry. Diddy's legacy now hangs in the balance. Will he be remembered as a pioneer who changed the face of hip-hop, or as a man whose personal actions destroyed everything he built? The answer may depend on whether he is able to confront the allegations head-on, take responsibility for his actions, and attempt to make amends. For now, Diddy's future, and his legacy, remains uncertain as he faces the most significant challenge of his career. The rise and fall of P. Diddy serves as a cautionary tale about power, privilege, and exploitation. Once hailed as a trailblazing entrepreneur who helped shape the culture of a generation, Diddy now stands accused of heinous acts that could destroy his legacy. His story is far from over, but one thing is clear: the man who once ruled the music world is now facing the biggest challenge of his life. Whether he will emerge from this storm unscathed or see his empire crumble remains to be seen. But as history has shown, no one, no matter how powerful, is above accountability.